So let us spend some time in recapitulating what we have done in first three levels. And why we are here on level 4. Now, you will recall that we started with learning the rules of Sandhi. Now, Sandhi, as you must have marked by this time, is a situation which has brought about some change. While arranging the smallest units of form of a sentence. So, unit is a sentence. It has a form. And form is made out of units. Those units are arranged in a particular way. And in the arrangement of the units, there is an influence of left side unit on the right side unit or right side unit on the left side unit. This is all Sandhi is. But while doing so, there are certain patterns, and those patterns are the rules of Sandhi. So when you talk of Sandhi rules, they are nothing but the patterns of influencing left side unit on the right hand side unit or right hand side unit on the left side unit. This is the simple meaning of Sandhi. And we had gone very elaborate on this, because all this is happening because we are articulating. Language is articulated, no? And human beings are given this apparatus of articulating. So when the air passes through the vocal cavity, and sometimes the passages remain open, sometimes the airs are stopped at different places of vocal cavity. They are called stops, sparsha in Sanskrit. And the smallest unit, what is the name? Varna. Varna. So you start from Varna up to n number of, and here you find possibilities. These are the possibilities. It is not that everywhere there will be some kind of a thing, but wherever there will be some change, it will be because of this on this, or this on this. This is Sandhi. That's all. But they follow a particular pattern, and therefore we call them rules. Rules of Sandhi. That's all. In this broad sense, you have to understand Sandhi. This is the word. Now, each varna is to be articulated, and there is a apparatus for articulation given to all human beings. Human language, only human beings have been given this articulation, the apparatus. Other animals also have articulation, but they are not using those methods to articulate that kind of a language which can be called human language. So only human beings, that is why human being is different from other human beings. And you remember that I had still also pointed out to you that even Bhartrihari in his Bhakyapadiya, he starts asking this question, that how is it that a child, when he utters the first sound, how much the tongue he should raise, which part of the tongue, middle or back or front, which part of the tongue he should raise, how much he should raise, where he should block the air. All this is a very skillful act. It needs training. But who trained that child? And therefore it says, Nabina Shabda Bhavanam. And I remember that I had pointed out to you that it is only in the late 50s a scholar called Chomsky, he came out with a innate theory of language, that each child is born with the capacity to articulate human sounds. And Bhartrihari, in the so many years before, so many hundreds of years before, he is asking the same question. So we want to learn Sanskrit. So suppose now I want to go for modern linguistics. I should learn Sanskrit in this way. To go to Vakyapadiya, to discover this statement of Vakyapadiya, in order to relate this thought with the modern thought. Learning 100 sentences and uttering them is not enough to do this job. So we want to have that kind of. So, Adhyaha Karana Vinyasa, he says. Adhyaha. You remember that? I remember. Vayoh Urdhva Samiranam, pumping the air in upward direction. Vayoh Urdhva Samiranam. And Sthananam Abhighatascha, blocking the air at the places of articulation. All this is, he's inquiring how all this is happening. Navina Shabda Bhavanam. So that samskara, with that he has come. He is born. You see that? So we did all this. So from one place of articulation to another place of articulation. So if you let us say Marud, and then you have done this in the level 3. Marud plus Bhyaha. What should be? So this should undergo a change. What has happened here? From ta you have to go to. So this is voiced, you see. This is unvoiced. These classifications we have already done. What I always keep on pushing you through the mail. Why are you silent? Why are you not working? Why are you not? Either you think that these questions are all meaningless, or sir is too much pressurizing us, or you feel it is of no use. So when you have formed a group, start learning in this way. Every time I am not available, but you can raise a question, learn, and you will have didhatara samskara, didhatama samskara. This is the advantage of your modern technology that you can do. Vinayaji sometimes starts Sandhi rules she sends to everybody that I have seen. So in this way, all start participating. Whatever group, let us say, it doesn't matter. Number does not matter. If you feel that it is of some use, you get into it and make it available to others. But before that, become firm in your knowledge, and that you can do it by sharing your knowledge with others and get corrected. And where everybody fails, I am here, you then call me. I will come to your risk. Whatever little I know, I will share. This is how we will do. And so my aim is to get these volunteers. My aim is not only speaking, I tell you again and again. You do it. But there are many things which is to be learned. Cannot be done by speaking. Prerana will be there. People will be happy. Make them happy also. That is why I say we have to develop these skills. Speaking skills, reading skills, writing skills. But more than that, for me is comprehending skill. Comprehension. By reading the text, I should be able to understand. And for that, knowledge of the structure is absolutely necessary. So you can see influence of one on the other. So this is influencing this. And an unvoiced is becoming voiced. A aghosha varna is becoming ghosha varna. So, therefore I said that how many possibilities? You remember? This is what I just... So you have VV. This is one situation possible. Vowel followed by a vowel. There is a possibility. These two will come one after the other. So they will start influencing. Now say Dadi. Now when I say the, immediately you will say. So undergone some change or not? So this E has undergone a change. This is what I say influence. So Sandhi is therefore is nothing but modification or change or influence of one varna on another varna. That varna may be left hand side, that may be right hand side. We have also discussed so many things. That certain changes take place. The Panini is the master of observing this kind of a pattern, and so he has formed the rules. Some changes are governed by the term pada. Pada governed changes. Pada, what is pada? Now you know. What is pada? Saptingantam padam. So that pada. And then others also should be called pada. For example, here also you can see that this is a pada. This change has taken place on the condition of a pada. Why it is a pada? He has given Svadisu Asarvana Avastha. It goes on, putting the conditions. So some changes are on the conditional change, and that is the pattern that he is observing. But some are without that conditions. Are you following me? So some are at the end of a pada. Some are inside that something may happen. So this is the boundary of a pada. This is a pada, you can see. This internal pada we talked about, you see. You remember now? These terms have already discussed. So this is internal, this is external. This is the external boundary, subanta. But this is internal boundary to convert this tha into the. So, this is happening in Sindhi. So, vowel plus vowel. We have only two kinds of varanas you have. Swara varana and Vyanjana varana. So, you have Swara varana followed by. Then you may have Swara varana. Possibilities first use. Consonant. You have consonant followed by a vowel and consonant followed by a consonant. That's all. These are the four possibilities. This will be the pattern. Now you tell me that is there any possibility of this thing here? Any change? Vowel followed by a consonant. Any sandhi? But there is one. For example, now you see, that also is recorded in Pali. Say, Vriksha. What will be the sandhi? This is is vowel. This is consonant. What will be the sandhi? Cha will come. So, Vriksha Chaya. So, one or two you may find. That's all. But certainly, no possibility of this here. Only a few exceptions here and there you may find. Can be noted. That's all. So, Vriksha Chaya. So, this cha is coming. Now, consonant plus vowel. So many. So, all that rules you have learned, you can reduce to this model of understanding. I am helping you to summarize those rules into these small set of rules. To understand, to remember it. I had started using these terms that at the time only. So, a consonant say when you have Vak plus Pati, what will you have? No change. Vag is speech. Now you make it Spati, you replace it by Abhyasa. Now make a Sandhi. So what is happening? This Ka is becoming Ga. So what is happening? Why it is happening? This is so you remember I said all vowels are voiced, and in each varga, the Tritiya, Chaturtha and Panchama, they are voiced. So Ka, Kha not voiced, but Ga, Gha, Nga voiced. Something will happen because of that. So you can, so for each pattern, let us say 10, 15, 20, 50, 30 examples you can jot down while reading. This is practice, this is how you have to practice. I am showing you the way. You will have to walk. This is how you have to do. So, when it is followed by a voiced vowel, then there is a possibility of a change. But suppose consonant can also be voiced and unvoiced. As you can see, what is this? Unvoiced. And this is unvoiced. Nothing is happening. But this is unvoiced. But say, and take another. Vangmaya. Okay, Vangmayam. Okay. So Vak plus Maya. Then this Ka is of the same class, nasal. So that is nasal is influencing this. Nasal is voiced. So first it is a voiced and influence. First belonging to the nasal class, so influencing the making it a nasal. This way, if you look carefully, if you study those cases of Sandhi, don't think that Sandhi rules, oh no, what is that? Every time you read with this eye, you have better and better samskara of the language structure. This is what should happen. So this can also be voiced and unvoiced. Let us say take some voiced one and take. Now let us say you have said there is Sandhi. So we have done in third level, no? So what is that? Why the pa has become ba? But it is voiced, Gosha Varana. Oh, vowel is a Gosha Varana. The pa has been influenced by ba. Say, Chandas, Chanda. What is happening now? So influence, you can say, who is influencing? The cha is influencing, unvoiced is influencing. So an unvoiced can also influence, make the voiced one unvoiced. A voiced can influence, make the unvoiced unvoiced. That is why I made a general statement that Sandhi is nothing more than an influence of the left hand side Varna on the right hand side Varna, or right hand side Varna on the left hand side Varna. This is how the remembering Kaushalya should be developed. So, you will be practicing this way. So, today we further minimize the rules. Is it so? You will see that all will fall under this. So, vowel plus vowel, vowel plus consonant, consonant plus vowel, consonant plus consonant. The consonant can be soft or hard, that is ghosha or aghosha. Vowel will be always ghosha. So depending on that, you can just watch that what is happening, which vowel, which varna is following, which varna is preceding, accordingly you will get the result. You will mark it. This will hold true in almost all cases. So consonant can be hard is aghosha. Soft is ghosha. Ghosha. All vowels are soft. This information keep with you. Vowels are ghosha. Consonants are maybe ghosha, maybe aghosha. Which one is ghosha? Tritiya, Chaturtha, Panchama. Which aghosha? Prathama and Dvitiya of each varga. Five group of 5 aghosha. We did also Alpa Prana, Mahaprana, etc. Let us not bring it now here. Now you see, you open the notes book now and you see, you understand now better. Every step, every time you read, you add something to your samskara. Keep on doing that. And that is going to help you. Now, let us go to the next one. So, this is what we did in the level 1. The main gate to enter into the language. And we entered into the language, and what we discovered? What we found? We found the unit of language for communication. That is a sentence. And that sentence has a structure. Is it so? So you write something like this, break it, then something appears. And what now appeared? Panini says only 2 things have appeared. Either it is Subanta or it is Tinganta. And Suptinganta Chayo Vakyam. That's all. A sentence unit for communication is a sentence, and that minimum requirement is that it should have 1 Subanta and 1 Tinganta, at least. Ramaha gacchati. Ramaha patati. This much. In that connection, I told you everything, that there are many things. Sa, tu, cha, ha, vai. In reading the slokas, you find so many enclitics, avyayas. Are they Subanta? Yes, according to Panini, they are Subanta. And he has a mechanism, he will drop it, the Sup. So the category is only two, either Subanta or it is Tinganta. So break the Sandhi, what remains is Subanta and Tinganta. Identify the unit, that unit is a sentence. What is the sentence minimum requirement? A Subanta and a Tinganta. And how much, what is the possibility? For that I give you this. Remember, if there is a Tinganta, that means there is a Kriya, action. And everything is, so some event is taking place in this universe. That's all. Some event. You are sleeping. It also is an event. The tree exists. Also is an event. I exist, you exist, the fan exists, the tree, the flower exists, the flower falls. Event. So there is a Kriya and there are participants in that Kriya. And Panini identified there can be only 6 such participants in land. What I am doing? Karaka. So you have only this. That's all. Finished. The Kriya is represented by a form Tinganta. This is also, I tell you, that is why I said finite verbal form. Not infinite verbal form. Verb can be finite and infinite. So I am looking from this point of view. That sentence which I have identified as a unit of expression, I am referring to an event. And in that event, one form is Tinganta. So there should be some performer of that activity. That he will call it, that initiator of the activity, Karta. And the maximum possible such participants will be 6 only. And for that, which sentence we had taken? We have created a sentence. Yeah, you see? So, in that sentence, the entire Sanskrit language is exhausted. So, Raja, this. Dhanam, this. Swahastena, hastena or hastabhyam, hastana, anything you write. Daridraya, Koshat, Varanasyam. And Vidad. So identify a sentence. Sentence will have participants. Participants will be from 1 to 6 as the real situation of the event which you are describing. If you are describing this, you know the king is giving to the poor. But you simply say, Vrikshat Paranam Padati. Only this much you are telling, no? So how many you got? Vrikshat? So Paranam Padati. And then from where is mentioned? From Vrikshat. So Apadana is mentioned and Karta is mentioned. That's all. So remember that when you enter into the Sanskrit language, you identify a sentence. You identify a sentence in terms of a action, kriya. And that action should have certain number of participants. That participants will vary, number will vary from 1 to 6. Why this variation? Why? As per the event. That much you are reporting. This event only you are reporting. That's all. Now, Tinganta. This is what we are going to elaborate now in this level. So there are two parts. Dhatu, etc. We'll do that. So this action, and each one is playing a role, no, towards that action, or not? That is what they are participant. So each one is playing a role. That is to be understood how? So, Vrikshat, say, take this sentence. You identified this sentence in Sanskrit. Vrikshat Paranam Patati. So you find out this is Tinganta. Then there are remaining two participants. What are they? Subanta. In a sentence there is Tinganta and the rest is Subanta. Subanta, what is the meaning of Subanta? So now that is so that form should end in a sup. So what should be the first part? That is why I am troubling you to identify what is the Pratipadika here, what is the Pratipadika here, what is the Pratipadika here. Because unless I know that, how can I say this is Subanta? Sup is at the end, but what is at the beginning? Pratipadika. These Pratipadikas are the entities which exist in this world. Some are outside, some are inside me. Vriksha is outside, but Dayayaha phalam idam. This is the result of kindness. Jnanena idam maya labdham. Jnanen. Where is jnana outside? No. Does it exist in this world or not? It exists. So that Pratipadika you are telling, what is that? Padartha. That is either inside or that is outside. That the whole world, whatever exists in the world, is given a name. So jnana, jnanena, which vibhakti is this? Jnanena, tritiya, which vachana is this? Ekavachana. So tritiya ekavachana. So this is so syntax we took. So this is what you say, syntax. So what is syntax? So jnana, let us say this is jnana, tritiya jnanena. So this is related to this action through something. What is that? Sup. So jnanena, that tritiya vibhakti that you find is a relation between jnana and the action. So therefore they are called by many names. Karaka relations, Karaka vibhakti, Karaka relation. By different names they are designated. So, mere Pratipadika will give you this. The sup will present you the relationship between this and the Kriya. And this part is obtained from Tinganta. This can be anything. This is going to be noun, pronoun, adjectives. All this will go like this. They form the part and parcel of the sentence, and there is a syntactical relationship in them. This is the relationship. And then we went to identify and point out rules of agreement. Rules of agreement. Did we do or not? Bhaktaha raktena pushpena devam pujayati. Let us take this. Bhaktaha raktena pushpena devam pujayati. You tell me what is Tinganta? Pujayati. Okay. What is the karta of that? Bhakta. What is rakte? What is pushpena? Which karaka? Karanakara. Karankaraka, then what vibhakti? Tritiya vibhakti. So, ekavachana, correct. Now description is full. And that ekavachana, the meaning is a relationship between that act of worshipping and flower. What about raktena? So, Disheshyasya hi yallingam vibhakti vachane chaye tani sarvani yojyani visheshana padeshvapi. So, you need this agreement, adjective and substantive. They should have a relationship of agreement. Is that so? So, Visheshya, Visheshana. We have a technical term also that also is known to you. Samana Adhikaran. Karan, yeah. Now, Bhakta Pujayati. Bhakta Pujayanti, is it okay? Why? So, there is an agreement again rule. That there is a personal agreement, number agreement. Here is number agreement. Bhaktaha pujayami. Is it allowed? No. Why? There is an agreement. Which agreement should be there? Person agreement should be. Because bhakta is third person singular. So, Tinganta should be only third person singular. So, there should be person agreement, there should be number agreement, and there should be, now gender, let us take gender. Raktaya pushpena. Let's say. Bhaktaha raktaya. Is it correct? Bhaktaha raktaya pushpena. Because Pushpa is neuter. Then it should be Raktena. Cannot be Rakta. If it is Rakta, Pratipadika Rakta. Rakta is feminine. It cannot match Pushpa. So we have gender agreement, we have number agreement, but caution was, what was the caution given to you? That as in modern Indian languages, say like Hindi or Marathi, there is an agreement between Karta and the Kriya, gender agreement. So in the finite verbal form, there is no gender agreement in Sanskrit. It is irrelevant. Therefore I can say, Balakaha gacchati, Balika gacchati, Mitram gacchati. So whether it is neuter, or it is feminine, or it is masculine, Gacchati is the one and the same. But this will not happen in Hindi. So there is an agreement of gender agreement between verbal form and subject in Hindi, which is not there in Sanskrit. So when I say gender agreement, I refer to Visheshya Visheshana Bhav cases. Are you getting me? This is one way underline, that's all. So in the second level, therefore, we did all this. Syntax, Karaka and Vibhakti, Sup. But for practice, what I wanted you, always whenever come across a sentence, ask this, what is the Pratipadika? First identify the Kriyapada. Remaining is Subanta. Tinganta will be doing now. Remaining is Subanta. In Subanta, how many things you should ask? First you see what is Pratipadika. Because Sup, at the end is Sup, no? But what is in the beginning? Pratipadika. So that Pratipadika, identification of Pratipadika form is most essential. That practice is necessary. So it may be Akaranta, it can be Akaranta, Akaranta can be neuter also, Phala and Nara for example. So Naram and Phalam, Naram Pashya, Phalam Pashya. Simply because Naram, Phalam looks like Naram, what are you going to say? The Nar also is neuter. So these are the ways of practicing. So you have identification. So therefore you must identify a Pratipadika. Pratipadika Swarupa Jnanam Avashyakam. यदि प्रातिपदिक स्वरूप ज्ञानम यदि अस्ति सुबंतस्य ज्ञानम अस्ति. Otherwise you do not know after which the soup has come. Maya, what is the Pratipadika? Good. This is what I want. I want you to have this knowledge. Kasmat Sanskritam Pathaniyam. Kasmat. Why? Kim. That's all. Are you getting me? So this is how we have to practice. Karaka. Karaka Vibhakti. Subanta. So practice of Subanta should be in this way, and we know the structure. So Pratipadika plus Sup. What is Sup, by the way? Starting. So, so it is a group. Name of a group of how many? 21. So I wish that after completing these levels, all of you should start teaching Sanskrit language. You replace me. I wish that you replace me. And that will give you an opportunity to learn more and more. Once your locality, your building, your society, you gather some 10 boys and start. But teach in this way. And I can assure you that if you start teaching Sanskrit in this way in the earlier age, his competence in mother tongue also is going to increase. His competence in any language that he learns, either first language or second language, is going to improve if the children are given the knowledge of Sanskrit structure in this way. Let him go to computer science, and he will find it so easy to develop programs for machine language, translating one language into another language through machine. So artificial intelligence. I think Arjuna is here. Good. You see, he's engaged in doing this in Hyderabad. You ask him, is this the way which is useful for developing software for translation from one language into another language or not? This is the way. But is the Sanskrit being taught in this way? Whether you are able to speak 10 sentences or 100 sentences or not is immaterial for me. But if I am unable to understand this in this way, that I lose everything. Therefore, I always give an example, Pallavagrahi and Moolagrahi. The other methods of teaching Sanskrit is only Pallavagrahi. And this method of employing the basic structure of Paninian analysis of language is Moolagrahi. You take it to the root. And this is what is required in this country. Emotions, okay, up to a certain extent, all right. But emotions should not be replaced by, or the rationality should not be replaced by emotions. That is what I feel. So, second level, this is what we have done. We have done so many other things, but now I am just a broad picture that I am just revision I am doing. And the third thing that we did in the third level is concentrating on Subanta. So, syntax in the second level, that is a Karaka. So, the form of a sentence consisting of Subanta and Tinganta, and then concentrating on Subanta and knowing its structure more and more closely. That what we did on in the third level. And therefore, what emerged was this. So, a Sanskrit sentence, therefore, this is what we did. This is the universal structure of a Sanskrit sentence. Sentence is Subanta and Tinganta. Here, what is this Subanta? So this is what? Pratipadika. And this Sup. Now what you see now, Pratipadika you will find that there is something free and derived. Some Pratipadikas are inexplicable to its further parts. That also attempt was made, but that became a bit artificial attempt, because the vocables have come into the Sanskrit language from different sources. Some are from Vedic dialects, they have come. Now, Sanskrit, by Sanskrit, what you understand? Right from Rig Veda up to this day, all that is known by the name Sanskrit is Sanskrit. But they have to be put into two layers. One is Vedic Sanskrit and the other one is classical Sanskrit. Is it so? Now, Devaihi Devaihi and Devevhi. Devevhi is not found in classical, but both are found in Vedic. I told you Vedic is very rich. There are multiplicity of forms. So you have Devaha and Devasaha. This is nominative plural. Prathama Bahuvachana. Tritiya Bahuvachana. Devaihi, we know. Normally in Sanskrit what is being taught. But Devevi also was alright in Vedic. Are you getting me? So we have Vedic Sanskrit therefore. And classical one. In classical one what happened? That itself shows that slowly and slowly that form of Sanskrit started to become obsolete. When Panini wrote grammar of Sanskrit language, at that time Sanskrit was his mother tongue. But in that mother tongue, those forms were not available. So by that time it became classical Sanskrit. There are scholars, who contest this idea, whether Sanskrit was ever a spoken language. I personally, my analysis, my understanding shows that it was a spoken. How can language be not spoken? They created only for a limited community of people to converse artificially. How is it possible? But there are people. It is not the case. So when Panini wrote Ashtadhyayi, he was writing a descriptive grammar of his own mother tongue. And that was Sanskrit. In that Sanskrit, such forms were not there. So he says, Chandasi. But Bhashayam. So the word Bhasha he uses, that refers to his own mother tongue. In the Udichyam, in the northern side, in the southern side, in the eastern side, this form is used. Can it be a language unless it is being spoken? So, he wrote a grammar of Sanskrit language, and that Sanskrit language was his mother tongue. That was a stage of the development of Sanskrit language from Vedic language. Now if you take the earliest text available in Sanskrit, what is the earliest text? In Sanskrit? Rig Veda. Rig Veda. So, the Western people are not ready to give older date to such book, because then our culture will become very old, no? Anyway, so Bal Gangadhar Tilak and many others, they contested the date given to Rig Veda by Max Muller. Max Muller said 1500, and that became a Veda Vakya for all. But Bal Gangadhar, he was a mathematician, an astronomer. He started studying the Veda from astronomical point of view, and the places, positions of constellations he studied and discovered that how can this be 1500? So he assigned other very old. So it's a very old language. So we have a tradition of Sanskrit language, a very old tradition. So by the time of Panini, those older form of Sanskrit were not in use. And therefore they started calling it Shishta Bhasha. Nevertheless, it was his mother tongue. Shishta is a culture, language of a cultured people, educated people, you know. Now, even when standard form of any language, educated language, is a bit different from the language form of the village people or not, even today. Dialectal form of a language and the standard form of a language, do you find difference or not? So, same thing happened in Sanskrit. So, a standard form which was being used as a medium of communication among the elite, educated class, was the standard form of Sanskrit, and Panini was speaking that language at home. And he described that language through a text called Ashtadhyayi. So, Ashtadhyayi is a descriptive grammar of Sanskrit language which was being spoken by Panini at home, and that Sanskrit has developed from earlier form of Sanskrit called Vedic Sanskrit, which was in use hundreds and hundreds years before. So Rig Veda was in this form. In both we find in the Rig Veda. Both you find in the Rig Veda. But you do not find these forms. These are Vedic forms. Chandasi, he says. Chandas means Veda. So in the Vedic language, this is also there. And then sometimes he fails to account for all the. He says, Bahulam Chandasi. Many such forms, as I also tell you many times, you know, there are many like that enumerate. In other words, this was a very rich form of Sanskrit language at the Vedic time, and simultaneously the language was being used by people. So through the dialects of the Vedic period, you know, the changes started taking place. And by the time of Patanjali, so Panini, Katyayana and Patanjali, you know, by that time even Sanskrit has ceased to become the lingua franca. Up to Panini it is fine, but after Panini, then Katyayana and then Patanjali, by that time, but what has continued to be transformed form of Sanskrit. That is the dialect. Through dialects, language keeps on changing. So the dialectal form of Sanskrit went on changing. And they assumed the form of Middle Indo-Aryan languages, what you call Prakrit. The Jaina canons are all written in that Prakrit language. Pali, the Buddhist canons are all written in the Pali language. So Pali, Jaina, Prakrit, then Apabhramsa. And then Apabhramsa, all modern or new Indo-Aryan languages started developing. and this is one that we are using. So, in a way, we are speaking Sanskrit. We are speaking Sanskrit in this way. Not that Sanskrit, Vedic Sanskrit. Panini also did not speak Vedic Sanskrit. But Panini spoke a Sanskrit, and that also went on transforming through dialectal forms and through MIA, Middle Indo-Aryan language, then Apabhramsha, Avahatta, and then modern Indian languages. This is the Indo-Aryan group of languages that we call. There's a lot of, so you see, why I'm telling all this, some of you may have interest in going into this kind of history, cultural history of India. Through language study will lead you to study of culture of a country. Some of you may be interested in knowing only the Dharma Shastra or the Dharma Grantha, maybe Darshana, maybe literature. So this is how we should reflect on this. So this is why we focused on Subanta in the third level. Subanta means Pratipadika plus Sup. Pratipadika is free. Like let us say, later on you find that Unadi Sutras were created. So they also try to further divide. So let us say Go. Go means cow. Cow. So it's a kind of a free form. But some try to go further also that Gamer Do. So from gum that has come. So this is also derived. So they will put into the derived category. Derived category. So in the derived you will find Kridanta, Tadvitanta, Samasta. Krit Tadvita Samasascha. So beautifully summarized in point. Arthavad Adhatu Apratyaya Pratipadikam Krit Tadvita Samasascha. So why I want to make it Sopanashtakam? In a way we have already done it. Pratipadika and Subanta is already done. But are we familiar with this? So what are the primary suffixes? What are the secondary suffixes? What are the rules of compounding to prepare the compound forms of Pratipadika? Ramaha gacchati, Lakshmanaha gacchati, Rama Lakshmano gacchata. So here Rama Lakshmano, what is the Pratipadika? Neither Rama nor Lakshmana, but how did you get Rama Lakshmana? Ramascha, Lakshmanascha, it's Rama Lakshmana. So this structure is required to be known or not? So we need to go for this. Anyway, we'll see how to. I'm giving you an idea, If you know this much, then you can say, okay, each and every bit of a sentence of Sanskrit is known to me. I want you to have this knowledge. And so this torture. So this is Pratipadika Sutra. So there will be some Pratipadika which is not explainable, inexplicable, freely used. As I was telling you, because they have come from different sources. Some are loan words, for example. Some words are loan words. When two cultures have come together, let us see, in so many English words have entered into modern Indian languages. So many Sanskrit words have entered into English. That also has happened. These are called loan words. Borrowed. So in this history, such long history, such thing also happened with Sanskrit. So many things have come from different sources. But everything has to be put into the format of explaining only through Sanskrit structure. Will not be possible. So there will be some forms which are inapplicable in the structure. So they will be called free forms, free morphemes. And these are all derived forms. By adding some primary suffix to the root, by adding some secondary suffix to the noun, nominal form, and by combining two nouns together with certain rules is called compound form. This is how we will be preparing the Pratipadika, and once you know Pratipadika, soup is already with you, go on adding. What are the soup, function of soup? Relating that with the Kriya. That's it. So what is the definition of a Karaka then? Anybody remembers that sentence? Kriyanvayi Karakam. So you will enter into semantics. Kriyanvayi Karakam. What is a Karaka? And that is why Shashti Vibhakti is not a Karaka, is not a relation, Karaka relation. Ramasya Bhrata Gacchati. Who is going? Rama is going? No. So how can Rama be related to going? Bhrata is going. But the relation between Rama and Bhrata is indicated by Shashti Vibhakti. This is. I hope I summarized level 1, level 2 and level 3. And now we will go to the level 4 in the next session.